So I'm here with Martin Sundby from Norway, and we're going to do a bit of a discussion on some of the questions different coaches have. Martin, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for letting me join.
Cool. So to start, let's go over the first question from a coach in Ontario. What makes you feel like a technical change is working? So what do you become aware of at that moment, realizing that something's clicked technically? So is it in the muscles or perceptual? How does that go for you?
Oh, that can be quite hard, I think, because sometimes you just feel it, like this change that was just what I was looking for, and then you just feel it in the rhythm in the skiing and the way you like move in the terrain. But some changes I think can be harder to feel, and maybe you need to train a lot of time on with the new changes to get the body used to it. So one example is that this year I've been focusing a lot of using my legs more in skating, and the first month I was doing that, I actually went slower. But now when I've been doing that for 3-4 months, I can feel the possibility to ski faster is there. So now I'm feeling it's better. But the first month or 6 weeks, I kind of felt, okay, now I'm doing it the wrong way. But I had to take 1 or 2 steps back to be able to go further.
That's interesting. So do you think that was a matter of just adapting to the changes in technique, or are you physically building more strength to be able to sustain it longer? What do you think?
I think it's since I was adapting to more leg push, using the legs more in skating. I think the first part I was just getting more tired since I was using more of my muscles, and then I got stronger, and also I got more of the it became more natural for me, so I got more of the relaxing phase after the push. Right. In the start I was maybe I kind of forgot that since I was trying to push harder, and I think also maybe I could ski more economical on slow training with less leg push, using more of the upper body, since that's double poling is an easy way to create speed without using too much power. But to be able to ski so fast as I want to, I think I needed to make that change.
So even in your zone 1 training, you're really emphasizing the leg push too.
Yeah, and also then I did some zone 1 training where I didn't focus so much on the zone. I was like, today the goal is to ski proper, and not ski all out on the easy trainings, but to ski proper. Don't look so much what the heart rate says.
Right.
Especially in certain terrains, not the steepest uphills, but when you do what do you one skate maybe?
One push per side.
One skate has been my main focus. So going maybe a bit faster in the one skate on the training, and when I go down to 2 skate, I take the intensity down on those trainings.
Right. And you'd lengthen out your glide more on the 2 skate?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
How about offset when you're, the offset technique? How would you approach that? Again, equal leg push, but the same amount of leg emphasis, or do you incorporate the upper body there too?
I think it's important to, in all the skating techniques, that you use the whole as the body as dynamic skiing. But I think also in offset it's important to not be too slow in the movement, so you're just standing, because if you're standing and waiting and then pushing, I think it's easy to build up the lactate. And I have a lot of speed from nature's side, so now into the season my focus in both offset and the rest of the skating, but particularly in offset, is to get that rapid movements into the skiing, and not suddenly just have an extra second where you're just gliding in offset. I think you should, if it's terrain for gliding in offset, I think you should do one skate.
Right.
More or less.
Because it's more sustainable than offset. The strides are going to be a little shorter in offset than your one skate, right?
Yeah, and also you're working more like in the direction you're going. Offset is more like wide and
Right.
so slow. It's Martin Sundby, he once said to Emil Iversen on the interval training, "Do you do offset?" "Yeah, I only use it for acceleration."
Wow.
And that's maybe a bit like Martin Sundby at his worst or finest, but that's like how many Norwegians think about offset the past 5 years. Is more like acceleration and of course the steepest hill, but you can see Sundby, Røthe, Krüger, Holund, all they do a lot of one skate in almost all terrain.
Where would you say Klæbo comes into that in terms of both his sprinting and distance skiing, his use of offset compared to one?
I think you can see when he does good distance racing, he will also do a lot of one skate, but he will maybe do more, maybe like 5 to 10 repetitions of offset to get the variation. So not like building up the lactate. So you can maybe see he's changing more than some of the other skiers. But that might also be because that's the only way he could keep up in the strongest uphills with Krüger, Røthe, and Bolshunov, of course.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that, Martin. That's really good talking about the skate technique. Maybe we'll touch on classic if we have time later. In your opinion, what is the best thing a coach can do for the athlete?
I think it's important that I know that the relationship with coaches and athletes are quite different in different parts of the world. I feel I've been to Canada, done some racing, talked to quite many athletes like you and some coaches. I think Canadians in many ways are quite similar to Norwegians, but I think it's important that the between the athlete and the coach there's a trusting bond, so they know why we are cooperating, what is the goal. I think it's important from the athlete side to be honest with the coach, to tell them what do I want to do, why am I doing this. And then I think it's important that the coach is supporting but also questions why you take those choices, like what makes you think that you should only train hard intervals and never long sessions. And maybe like ask the right questions, not to tell them you are wrong, but to get the thought process going.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think some of that athlete autonomy, creating their own programming or talking to their coaches about the purpose of different sessions, so that the athlete learns why you're doing certain training. So the athlete learns and it helps the coach too. Yeah,
because you're a team, so you're working together, and not only to make the athlete better, but also make the coach better, and also make both of them maybe better humans, as we like to say. In Norwegian's sport, it's not only about the performance, but also about the human. So
right, that's cool. Maybe next, let's move to some of that classic technique. We had some discussion on Facebook last week about it. Maybe touch on your key things that you focus on in classic sprint and classic skiing in general when you're striding, that you think are important for juniors to be thinking about as well, for coaches to talk to their juniors about.
Yeah, I think the first thing, you can start with the diagonal stride. And that's what you call it as well. Because I think that's been not so much focus on that, particularly in Norway, because we had a lot of double poling the past 6-7 years. And I can see that the kids now, they ski worst diagonal. And I like for me as that love skiing, I think that's a bit bad. Or like hurtful to see. to do good diagonal striding, I think it's important that you train it a lot and you get all the rhythm and the dynamic movements. And one thing I see that I can see in both video clips from Canada, Finland, Italy, and also I go to the races in Norway and I see a lot of kids, juniors and younger athletes, they always push the limit on how long poles can you ski. And I think to get the good diagonal technique in, it's important to train with maybe more of the poles they had 15, 20 or 30 years ago. Because I think still you can see Niskan, Bolshuno, the things that separates them from the other in the World Cup is that they are skiing more like the guys did in the 90s, also in the uphills. Yeah. So I think like to be a bit traditional when it comes to diagonal is important. Lower the shoulders, have a good pendulum with the arm. I think it's really important that the arm pendulum goes all the way behind the thighs, so you get like the relaxation of the arm. And then you also, it's natural when the arm goes past your hip, you will also glide on the other leg. So I think it's to get like the whole movement in, not only do the short up here and only the short movements up here, but like get the full pendulum, and so the legs and the upper body works together as a whole.
Right. And in the kicking motion, you were talking about kind of rolling from your heel and pushing through the foot. So starting the kick back here and pulling through the whole foot as you kind of roll through the stride.
Yeah, because I think it's important to not sit back in all skiing technique, if it's classic or skating, diagonal or offset, but to get the grip and to get also the gliding phase in diagonal, I think it's important that you get the whole foot under you and you don't only push with your toes. And I think that's the main reason why, for instance, classic shoes or boots are soft and the skating are hard, because if you try to go diagonal striding with a skating boot, you won't get the full kick because it's so stiff you go straight to the toe. So to get like the whole foot beneath yourself, so you can get all the wax down to the snow and then get the grip and have a good kick while you glide on the other ski.
Right.
And it's also like it's important for both the kick and the glide to get the foot all the way under you.
Right. And just because you're getting that extra glide by making sure you're pushing forward as well, not just all on the forefoot, also using your starting it from the back.
Yeah, but of course, if it's steep uphills, you can't like take the extra time to push out the extra 15 centimeters of the glide, because then it will start to slip again. But when you're doing normal uphills, I think it's important to have that gliding phase.
Right.
Also because even if you're a kid, you're skiing 2 or 3 Ks. And if you're only sprinting, you will get tired.
Right. All right. Well, thanks very much, Martin, for all those answers. It's great having you on.
No problem.